Welcome to the very first episode of WILTB, or Why I Like These Books. I'm still working on the acronym. It's not perfect. The book I'd like to discuss today is called The Death of Ivan Ilyich, and it's by Leo Tolstoy. A few things about Leo Tolstoy. He was Russian, and also he was the author of War and Peace and Anna Karenina, which are two of his most well-known works. Also, a quick note about the title. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. I have in the past said Ivan Ilych, Ivan Ilyich. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to be pronouncing it Ivan Ilyich. But when I refer to him by just the first name only, I'll probably just say Ivan because that's just easier, and I don't speak Russian. Now, of course, no spoilers, but the death of Ivan Ilyich, the spoiler is in fact in the title, so Ivan dies at the end of the book. So I spoiled it, but it was already spoiled. The book begins with Ivan's death, and the news of Ivan's death being spread around to his quote-unquote friends and co-workers. Now, Ivan is a judge, which means that he is a sort of magistrate. He's an official of the court, and he is living in Russia in the 1800s. So that's kind of the time period. When Ivan's quote-unquote friends hear about his death, they are not distraught. They don't think about his family at all. They think rather about how his death might personally benefit them. Here's the sad aspect of this story. Ivan leads a conventionally happy and a conventional, by all accounts, life. He goes with the flow of what society asks and expects of him, and he does so in a way that during his life he is pleased and complacent and content. However, as he gets closer to his death, he becomes less and less content and less assured that the course he has maintained throughout his life is in fact the right one. Before Ivan gets ill, he has a job as a magistrate, but he's not really that happy with the job. He's hoping for a job that gets a bigger paycheck, so he goes to St. Petersburg and requests an audience with a friend of his. So he attains that job that will pay him 5,000 rubles a year. Yay, happiness, right? After he has the job, he goes to look at a house. He decorates this house in a way that is befitting of a slightly upper class individual. But he does so in a way where it's very customary because everyone who is aspiring to be that higher level is decorating their house in a similar manner, right? So he's just like all of the other people who are trying to be rich or who are trying to appear rich. In the decorating process, he climbs up a ladder and is adjusting some drapes, slips off the ladder and hits the side of his the torso. Over time, it begins to progress and it begins to get more and more malicious, and sort of the development, the trajectory of the injury becomes more serious. So Ivan begins to despair. Nothing he does can sort of assuage the pain that he's experiencing from this injury. He goes to see lots of doctors, and they treat him in the same perfunctory, efficient style that he was accustomed to treating the petitioners at the court. They don't treat him like a person, they treat him like a case or a problem to be solved. And so he begins to resent that, and he begins to despair that they don't have his best interests at heart, which of course they don't. He has one friend in the household, and his name is Gerasim, and Gerasim is sort of a younger servant. Gerasim recognizes that Ivan is on a downward slope and that there isn't a whole lot that he can do to stop it. The doctors that he sees want him to believe that he's going to get better, but he's not. He's just not. At the end of his life, Ivan has a discussion with the soul. So he has a sort of a dialogue with the soul. And the soul asks him, Ivan, what do you want? And Ivan responds, I want to live. And then his soul, or the soul, maybe the oversoul, responds and asks him, well, is the quality of life that you had before you were ill, is that truly living? So here is sort of the moral of the story. If you live a conventional life up to and in line with the expectations of the society of the day, then you're going to be happy in a conventional way. But at the end of your life, you might look back upon your accomplishments, your quote-unquote accomplishments, and you might begin to despair because those accomplishments look hollow and empty in light of the fact that you accomplished them only because you were expected to. This is a trope that's echoed a lot in modern American society. You want to be an individual, you want to be individualistic, you want to stick out, go your own way. And it's interesting because that desire to be an individual is being co-opted by the companies who want to profit from that desire. And so our desire is expressed through the sublimation of buying stuff. And I think that's a problem. But anyway, enough about that sort of critique of capitalism. I'm sorry about that. The Death of Ivan Ilyich is a wonderful book, even though it is fundamentally depressing, because it leads us to think about how we are living our lives. And are we doing it intentionally, or are we doing it in a way that is automatonic, like a robot, right? We're just going through the motions. I believe that Tolstoy is trying to say through this book that if you are not careful and if you are not intentional, you will be borne away by the momentum of what is expected of you. So anyway, that's my review of The Death of Ivan Ilyich. And this was the first episode of Why I Like These Books. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you are reading books at your home or wherever you currently are right now, because books are wonderful. And we learn so many things from books. That's why I like this book and why I like these books in general, and why I'm going to continue to do these videos, why I like these books, WILTB. Thank you.